What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today I'm here to talk to you about Shadow Era. Shadow Era is a free-to-play card game from Wulven Game Studios, and it has been a game that I've been following since I found out about it some years ago. It had to be at least maybe 3 or 4 years now, but it's been going on for quite some time. Now, the game is built in Unity, so it's available on multiple platforms, all your mobile ones, and on PC. And here they have a new screen upon logging into the client, which will give you details on any new updates or particular, juicy tidbits of info that are up and coming about the game. After that, you get to log in, and by clicking the chest that you see in the upper right-hand corner there, you actually get a free daily card. This card can range from anything from your most common of cards up to foil rares and heroes, so there's really no limit to what you can get. And if you enjoy a card game and want to play this steadily, the game essentially just rewards playing it no matter what. Winning obviously makes more sense, but by logging into the game daily, even without spending a ton of time in it, you do get to grow your card base, which I find is one of the most annoying things when dealing with some collectible card games. It's just that they want a lot of time investment. Specifically, the Pokemon trading card game and Hearthstone require a significant amount of playtime, and so most people that play those pretty much only play them. Now, the story for the game is essentially you being part of this resistance against the I can't even remember what the enemy forces are called. I guess the Shadow Minions? I think that's it. They are essentially a group of deadly creatures. None of them human. I believe humans are specifically on the Alliance side, which is you. And obviously that should immediately harken back to World of Warcraft sensibilities. It'll give you details on the ideas behind each of the decks for the people that you play, and by continuing to actually play them, you will unlock more and more people to play against on the world map, and the rewards eventually increase and allow you to gain newer cards faster by playing against more and more difficult opponents. Now, being a collectible card game, the goal is really to get you to play against human opponents, and so you will be able to click the chalice there to see all of the various rankings available, the score, which is a cumulative score for games won recently, as well as a rating, which is your player rating for a particular season. The seasons are reset every few months, and they will allow you to climb the ranks again, so nobody gets to play a few hundred games and then just magically keep their rating by never playing again. In addition to this, the game has a built-in messaging system similar to email, which allows you to enter a name and subject and send it to people, and it will store it until they're able to view it for you. I believe messages age out after a time, and I like the fact that they actually included that, and especially for a system that is built in Unity, actually getting messaging going long term for people that aren't collectively logged in all the time is somewhat of a challenge. So, kudos to the developers for actually thinking about that in advance. They also have a help menu built in, which goes over essentially everything from the various media sites for the game up to the card information and the detailed rules of the game. Now, the full rule book is available online at the website, and you will be able to view that there. So it's a good idea, if you are stumped on how some of the things in the game work, to check out the forums and the game's website for more information, just so that you can be the best that you can possibly be at the game. Now, all of this is basically just quality of life stuff so far, so let's actually look into what you can do in the game itself. By clicking the deck screen, you will be able to take a look at the deck that you had selected when you started the game. They give you a few cards to start out, obviously. And the filter system seems to be a bit buggy right now. Like, not all the information that is available on the cards is searchable, such as the abilities. I tried searching for cards with Protector. Some that I have and are visible as soon as I jump into the deck menu. But by typing in Protector, it doesn't actually pull up those cards. I then tried to type in a few letters from a card name that I had, and it didn't even show just that card. It said that there were no results and then gave me 2 cards. So that might be something that the developers want to take a look at. However, if you want to filter specifically just by card types, cost or rarity, that seems to be alright. The part of deck building that may be a bit strange is it doesn't shoehorn everything for you, but it does guide you through the deck building process. So when you first clear out your deck, you will need to select a hero that will then enable the rest of the cards that you're able to put into it. And the decks have restrictions similar to the Hearthstone and World of Warcraft game, where after selecting your hero, you will only be able to select cards that match its particular qualities. So if I have a human rogue, I will only be able to select neutral cards, human cards, or rogue cards. Anything that has a different class, such as mage, or a different race, such as Wulven or elemental, will no longer be available to me because my hero does not possess those traits. And there will be symbols in the upper right hand corner of the majority of the cards that will essentially tell you what sort of attributes your hero needs to be able to use them. Now, by clicking the challenge button, it takes you to the various challenge menus. There are going to be 3, one for ranked play, one for unrated or free play, and then another for Meltdown, the game's version of draft. Here, you can see matches that are already in progress, or click the battle button to start your own. By clicking a match in progress, it immediately takes you into it so you can spectate the entire match. If you're unsure about how different deck types work, or you just want to see what a certain combination of cards may look like, you can actually follow people and watch their games. They'll get a notification about it. And here's the game that I wanted to show you. So essentially, you start the game by drawing your 6 cards, and you're able to sacrifice a card after you draw phase each turn to increase your resource pool. The resources are laid out to your right, and it will tell you what your total is, or your total available versus your total each turn once it begins. On the left is your deck and your hero, and again, the heroes do not all have the exact same amount of life. Some heroes will have more, some less, but it's generally somewhere between 20 and 30 HP. Every turn, your heroes accumulate a shadow power, which is the purple circle on the bottom left of each of the heroes, and they will have an ability that can consume that shadow power. Now, certain cards have the ability to consume shadow power for their effects too. These tend to have to be really powerful abilities due to the fact that you can only accrue shadow power at the rate of 1 per turn without spending resources on other cards. So it's a pretty precious resource. That'd be the best way to describe it. The various cards that you're able to use will go into the 2 areas that you see here. You have allies for the summonable creatures, and they all have summoning sickness similar to Magic the Gathering, where they are unable to have any of their activated abilities used unless it is constant or global, and they cannot attack the first turn they're summoned. They will come in a darker shade of blue until they have the ability to actually perform a task, and at that time their colors will lighten up. Now beneath them you have the ability to play support cards. These will be either abilities, which are essentially one-shots. They happen and then fade away, and then you also have artifacts and weapons. Artifacts can be dropped and have various properties but generally stay on the field until either their conditions are satisfied or they are destroyed by your opponent. Because of this, artifacts are generally pretty sought after cards, and it means that by having powerful artifacts in your deck, it goads your opponent into using their resources to destroy them. In addition to that, the items, weapons, and armor are attached directly to your hero and either reduce the damage that you take per hit in the case of armor, in addition to having other abilities, or increase the damage that your hero does in combat by allowing them to attack or retaliate against people attacking them, and in addition to that, possibly having other effects as well. Now, upon rendering your opponent's HP to 0, you will be presented with a victory screen, which will tell you the various stats from the match, items played, allies, abilities, and the total damage dealt, as well as the amount of experience and gold earned. And it'll take you back to the matchmaking screen or the world map, depending on whether or not you were playing against a human opponent or an AI opponent. Now there's one other part to cover, and that's essentially how you get your cards. After everything else and being able to build your deck, getting the daily cards, you have a merchant. Now the merchant offers everything that you see here: booster packs, pre-constructed decks, card sleeves, playmats, and individual buying and selling of cards. Now I have a few more Dirk Sabers than I can actually use. The maximum card limit, I believe, is 4. So I'm going to sell one of those. And then after that, you can buy individual cards. Now these individual cards can be bought with gold. If you want to see the price on them, you can click them. But initially, hide unusable will be checked on the filters. And what that means is that you simply won't be able to purchase cards that you do not have a corresponding deck hero for. So if I currently am using a human rogue, which I am, I will see cards available for humans and rogues. However, I will not see cards available for other races. And those were just the playmats there. Here are the pre-constructed decks, and these have to be purchased with shadow crystals, the same as all of the booster packs. So the shadow crystals are earned either by, again, watching ads through the mobile app, by leveling up in the game, or by purchasing them with real world money. And for most of the older decks, you will actually have a deck list and the description there. However, for some of the newer ones, that really doesn't seem to be the case. So you may want to just double check to see what you're going to get before you go ahead and buy into those, unless some of them are meant to be entirely random. Like the premium pack of cards here, which is worth more than most of the starter decks and has 5 foil cards. Most of the regular packs are about 100 to 150 for Lost Lands, since it is the newest expansion to the game, I believe. And that's essentially everything the merchant is there for, to expand your collection very specifically. So I like the fact that, unlike other games that require you to sort of craft or migrate everything that you get, like Feria, Hearthstone, and some other card games like the Pokemon trading card game, where you have to pack everything, this actually lets you choose, if you're going to be free to play from the beginning, just exactly what cards you want. And I thought that that was a very interesting and sort of safe approach to the free to play versions or aspects of this game. Either way, this has been Shadow Era, and I definitely really like this card game. If you guys want to take a look at it, feel free to. Let me know what you think about it, and feel free to drop me a line. Leave a comment underneath this video, or hit me up on Twitter. Either way, thanks again for watching. I hope to see more things from Wulven Game Studios in the future. And as always, until next time, have a good one, guys.